Beatrice Ndora with the Musings podcast. I will speak on how to safeguard your time. 3 ways to set solid boundaries. When it comes to managing our time, we need to be very careful, especially with people who abuse our time. When people abuse our time, they leave us frustrated and angry. I have been angry a couple of times with people who abused my time. I realized these are people who are selfish and they are not sensitive at all. And I reached a point and I said to myself, I need to do something about this. I think I am the problem because I am enabling them instead of setting boundaries. And I chose to set boundaries with my time and with my energy. And the more I did that, the less frustrated I was. I gathered the courage to let them know that I don't have time to honor their request. I don't have time to invest in their demands. Of course, they got angry with me, and even some cut off having a relationship with me. But that is okay, because if you are angry because I stopped you from misusing my time, that's okay with me. It's easy and tempting to get caught up in an important task. We encounter many distractions and duties that waste our time. And it is advisable to create boundaries around less important tasks, because we also waste our times on tasks that are not important, and we ignore the important tasks. And sometimes the important tasks are challenging, they are difficult to handle, and that is why we choose to invest our time in the easy tasks. However, we need to set or to create boundaries around the less important task and create time to work on the highly important tasks. And it will take practice over and over to be able to say no to the easy, simple task and engage in the tasks that are challenging, that will consume our time and even make us sweat. We need to get brutal with our time. When we get interrupted, it will take up between 25 to 30 minutes to refocus. And it is also most likely you might not get back to task, because one interruption leads to another. Anyway, how to safeguard your time? Let me give you the tips on how to do that. Number 1, identify people who drain you and reduce the frequency of the time you spend with them. Intentionally set boundaries to safeguard your time and energy. Because people who waste your time, they also waste your energy. Time and energy go hand in hand. Number 2, be responsible for enforcing healthy boundaries and diligently guard them from violators. You must protect your time and energy, and I repeat, it is your responsibility. If you don't do that, you will end up being frustrated, you will end up being angry, you will end up not being able to unleash your full potential. Number 3, learn to say no. No is a very powerful word. No is a boundary setting word. So when you are presented with a request that you don't have time for, do not be tempted to say yes instead of no. It will lead to resentment, which is not good for your mental health. And if you will get into the practice of saying no, I think in some cases you need to start strengthening your self-esteem. When our self-esteem is average or below average, we are easily manipulated. And when we are easily manipulated, we end up saying yes, and inside we are saying no. Comprehension of the value of what you can achieve with your time within your day permits you to assess whether additional new workload on your plate is worthwhile. Evaluate whether it is necessary to take somebody else's responsibility, because you might end up with a very serious burnout. And when you take up these other people's responsibilities, are you strengthening them or are you enabling them? We enable them when we do that. We get misused and we sabotage ourselves. Effective time management enables us to achieve more in less time and also reduce stress, improve the balance between work and life balance, and enable overall well-being. So in other words, when we are setting boundaries with our time, when we are able to say, no, I cannot be able to handle this, my plate is full, you are strengthening your mental well-being. It is good for your mental health. You are boosting your self-esteem, and you are being more and more in charge of your life. You are putting controllers at arm's length. Because most of these people, let me respectfully use the word lazy. They are lazy. They don't want to do research. They don't want to do the tough work for themselves. So they take a shortcut to shift their assignment to you to do it for them. And when you do that, you will get a burnout. And when you get a burnout, you will be angry. You will be frustrated. You will start whining and complaining. I remember when some people really took advantage of my time, I was always complaining to my husband. I was angry. And one time he looked at me and said, you are the problem. They are not the problem because you have enabled them to do that. And it was like, what? And he went ahead and said, I don't see you initiating boundaries. That was my wake-up call. And nowadays I'm so bold to set boundaries. They are for my own benefit. And I purposed, I'm not letting anybody misuse me, take me for granted. And this kind of people, they will misuse you. They will take you for granted. And finally, they will kick you out after they are done misusing you. But also take hint. When you also set boundaries with them and say, I cannot take it anymore, be prepared, because there are some who are so emotionally immature that they will hate you and cut rings. And when they do that, do not chase them. Let them go. Say goodbye to them, because that is an opportunity to invest more and more in yourself. And as I was preparing this podcast, something came into my mind. Our time is a gift from God. We need to use it wisely because we shall give an account on how we used our time. I like this particular two verses in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 and 16. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming time because the days are evil. We need to redeem time. We are stewards of our time. Time is a gift from God and a gift that needs proper management. We cannot keep on wasting our time. I don't know how you manage your time. Maybe you spend all your time on social media. Maybe you spend all your time gossiping on phone. Maybe you spend your time just being a busybody. That is not good for your mental well-being. That will not add something variable in your growth journey. And that will also affect your relationship with God because you are failing to be a steward of your time. I hope that you will be able to set boundaries with how you use your time with yourself. Are you spending time on the most variable things or just things that are not important and things that are easy? Sometimes the things that are easy consume our time. Our time needs to be invested in the challenging things that will enhance our growth journey and strengthen our mental and spiritual resilience. Set those boundaries with what you are able to say yes when it comes to helping others and saying no. Because if you say yes all the time, you are being taken advantage of. Be a good steward of your time. Thank you very much for taking time to listen to this podcast. And you can subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts from, and also from YouTube. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time in the next podcast.